So welcome to Transforming Marketing Metrics into Actionable Email Recap. What we're going to do today, we're going to do a quick intro about myself so you know who you're talking to and about Tag. And then we're going to dive right into the Monday Marketing Recap email. We're going to review the email elements. We're going to do the secret behind the email. We're going to review the key steps to create a great recap email. And we'll talk about the benefits of the email. And then I'll leave a few minutes for questions. And then I have a fun free offer for you. You took the time to be here, so just giving back. So just a little bit about me. I have about 20 years in the retail and e-com industry with really passion for marketing and data. I started my career at a beauty company called Sabon. It was mainly in New York and online. I was there for 5 years as a GM. And then I moved to retail big box, worked at Victoria's Secret's Beauty. And there I actually was in inventory planning, where 90% of their role is all about data, and then the other 10% is also data and some forecasting. So it's really there where I really honed my data analysis skills. And then moved to Gap. I owned women's sweaters category, again, from the planning side of things. And then after quite a few years in the corporate world, I decided I want to move to startups. So I joined Vroom, a startup in the e-com space, and I was employee number 23. And there I shifted into marketing, where I brought all the data experience from my past into Vroom. And then from there, I found my way into marketplaces. I worked at Etsy for the head of global merchandising team, and then later at Depop as the head of US marketing. And then about 3 years ago, I founded Tag Marketing, which I'm going to share with you a little bit about. And also I found it because I wanted some life-work balance, and I live with my family, my husband and kids in New York. So quickly jumping into Tag Marketing. So basically Tag Marketing, we're D2C experts handling 360 marketing for growing e-commerce brands, not ready to hire in-house team or have existing internal gap. And you can see here also Astrid and Stephanie, and we also have additional great partners.
Hey
Some
everyone.
of the
Uh,
what?
I was just gonna say I'm Astrid and I'm also on the call. Just nice to be here and be part of the call.
And some of the services, thanks to Astrid, we do anywhere from marketing strategy to organic social management, paid media, creative execution for paid and organic social, marketing audits, campaign management, data reporting analysis. It's green because the focus of today is going to be around that. And we also help global companies enter the US market. So let's dive right in. Oh, hey, Shayna. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
I've heard so much about you.
Oh, that's so nice. Same.
Um, okay, so wanted to review why is marketing recap is important. I might be stating the obvious, but I think it's important to just acknowledge. Really, it probably has more reasons, but kind of the main key is to ground yourself as to what happened last week. Also to inform senior leadership of what happened. It helps the team alignment on action steps for the week, and also it's a pulse check for achieving goals. And I want to just pause for one second and ask, how much time do you spend today on sending recaps on Monday? If you want to just like drop into chat, how much time do you spend today? Esther, I'm having a hard time seeing the chat because of the Zoom settings. So
Oh yeah, so I just dropped in a note. I said I've spent between 1 and 3 hours, and Shayna said 2 hours. So I guess we're averaging out about 2 hours.
yeah, no, that's totally what I'm hearing also from my clients, the average of between anywhere from 1 to 3, even 4 hours. So I want to start with kind of showing the end result, and then we're going to go back and decompose the email template and what's standing behind it. So this is kind of my template, and don't worry about now about the actual content. We'll go back to that during this webinar. But basically, it's pretty lengthy, as you can see. And I want to break it down to you for the elements and then how we put this together, this email. So let's review the email elements. Again, might be stating the obvious, but I think it's important to kind of start from the beginning. So the way I see it, there are kind of three levels. The high level is kind of the overall sales metrics. Give the exec team just a quick pulse on the business. And then the mid-level, it's a category down, it's a deeper breakdown of marketing channels. So if you are like a VP, director, or you want to know a little bit more, then you can have a little bit more context as to what happened last week. And then the deepest level, it's really kind of the nitty-gritty of like really what happened, going into the like small details of what happened last week. And I kind of put the image of like an eye doctor thing because it's like going from the high level to the really, really tiny level. And one other comment I want to add is that the email template is actually something that I've been carrying with me since my inventory planning days. So it's actually a great template for if you own a whole business or if you want one specific aspect of the business, or no matter which level you are. Really, the idea is to apply the metrics that you look at into that template. So going back to the email template, just kind of pointing out, so the high level would be the one are in green. So those are kind of the one-liners. If I'm, for example, if we're an e-com brand, and I'm a founder or CEO, all I need to do is probably kind of eyeball and I read kind of the titles and I say, okay, gross sales, 1,100, down 50 week over week. In my head, I know, okay, I'm probably going to discuss this with my team. And I'm probably going to review very quickly the line on the spend and then a little bit of the traffic, just so I have a pulse check of what's going on in the business. And then the mid-level go down for, again, for those who want a little bit more information. So kind of go into, and again, for each business looks at different metrics and KPIs. So for example, for sale, I look on many times at first time versus repeat. For CRM, it could be maybe the different segments of the customers. So it really can vary between business to business. What are the mid-level categories you want to dive into? And lastly, the deepest level, basically going again, as I mentioned, to the nitty-gritty for those who really want to understand what happened last week. Not everyone is going to read it, but it's very good to just have it there. And then lastly, I usually finish with some action steps and charts. Again, depends with the audience, if it's by a monthly level or maybe a weekly level. Maybe there are some important dates here, team meetings, campaign deadlines, anything that needed to call out for the week. So now I have another question. Right before we dive into the behind the template, what are your biggest struggles creating Monday email?
So Anat, I just dropped this in the chat, but I know one thing I've struggled with and that I've heard from colleagues of mine is it can be easy to spend so much time on the formatting of the email and pulling from different sources, and that can take up so much time and isn't really contributing to the actual content of the email. And then one thing I've struggled with is figuring out the level of detail to include, especially if it is to more senior level folks that I'm working with, knowing how to give enough detail but not get too into the weeds. And especially from a marketer's perspective, when we're in it every day, I think it can be hard to pull out. And I see Shayna just dropped a note that said, we do it in a deck format with screenshots of emails sent, et cetera, to just very time consuming. So yeah, time formatting, that seems to be a trend.
Yeah, and that's what I also hear from my client. Also depends, of course, if your email recaps are in decks or in email templates. And yes, I agree that it's very time consuming. So hopefully when we review today, we can save you some time. and we can think about a way to reduce that time. So what is the secret behind a good email recap? And I would say that it has a very simple answer. It's a really efficient marketing reporting. It really comes down to the marketing reporting help you set up the email campaign very easily. I've learned throughout the years that, and I've optimized my reporting. When I have a marketing reporting that works for me, then it's very easy after to create a marketing template, an email template after. So what I want to do now, I want to walk you through an example of the reporting example. And what's important is not that, again, it's that specific report, because you may report on, my reporting is on Google Sheets, but you may report on Excel or Triple Whale or Northbeam or one of these tools. So it's more of the fact of the concept of how to kind of build reporting and how to think about it in a way that's going to help you, and then how to apply it to the email template. So let's review a template. So again, I built my reporting on Google Sheet. I'm just going to zoom out to see just a little bit more. And first thing to note is that the reporting that I build usually are being built from high level to the deepest level, just like the email template. So already you kind of have the same mindset from the reporting too. Also, for some people, like tons of numbers, like this, chart can be intimidating, but I'm going to walk you through how to read it and how to break it down to make sure you not only understand the numbers, but how to create the story behind the numbers, so it can help us build the story for the email template. So even for each tab, the way this report is being built is from the high level, and the more we go to the right, it's going down to the deepest level. So let's take an example and kind of review the report. And so this dashboard is an overview, for example, for what happened last week, and it's a metrics. So you have a tops down metrics, sales, marketing spend, and e-com metrics. And then from left to right, it's the timeline. So the way I kind of review this is both tops down and left to right. So first thing I do on Monday morning, I update this report, and then I kind of start digesting the report. So I'm going to start from the gross sales, mainly because for marketing, I look at gross sales because we can't forecast returns, but we're going to look also at the net sales. But for last week, for example, I'm seeing, okay, we did 1,100. The week before, we did 2,200, and that's 50% down week over week. And I'm already signaling in my head, what happened? So then I start thinking about, maybe the week before we had a promo, and then you know what? It actually makes sense that this week maybe there is a hangover and we have less sales. And then I want to continue again with the timeline. Looking at last year, we did almost 2,000, and we are again down 44 to last year. So again, I'm thinking, okay, what happened there? I'm probably going to go to the brand calendar or where we have everything we did last year. And I'm going to realize, yes, we also had promo that week last year. Makes sense that we're down. And then I'm going to continue to the month level. And then I say, okay, we're 8,300 for the month. And look at that versus last month to date, only $2,000. So we are actually month to date, we are 335%. So now I'm realizing, hey, this is actually a good story because we had a promo. And yes, while we're down week over week, we are actually up by 335% to last month. And if I'll continue look at month to date last year, I'm going to find out that we're also up to last year. So I'm already said, okay, like overall, whatever we're doing is actually working. And then just to continue the timeline, we're 60,000 for the year versus 24,000 last year. We're pacing 450% year over year. So already I have like a very high level. Okay, this is what happened. I already kind of feel good because I have a story. And then what I usually do, I kind of jump to the net sales just to make sure that the same trend of the timeline over timeline makes sense. And then I'm seeing here that, for example, my gross sales are down 50 and my discounts are much less this week, which makes sense to me because last week we had a lot of discounts because of the promo. this week much less. And then the net sales, same. So I'm saying, okay, kind of the net sales follow the trend of we're down to last year, we're up month over month to last year and year to date. So I'm saying, okay, overall in sense, that's the trend I'm seeing. And that's how I continue to kind of review the spend and review traffic. And you can already see in probably about 2 minutes, I have a good idea of what's going on in the business. Now I kind of go to the spend. I say, okay, we spend less week over week. Probably makes sense because we had a promo last week. And then we didn't spend last year. These are, by the way, all made up numbers just for the report. And then I'm saying, okay, year to date, we spend 160% more, but we're actually 300% more in sales. So again, all good news. And probably our marketing efficiency rate is better this year, which is correct. It's almost 7 versus 4. And then I continue. Same with traffic. Again, now I'm seeing traffic is actually up week over week, which kind of doesn't make sense maybe with the sales. Like sales are down, spend is down, but traffic is up. So this is like, it's a trigger for a topic of conversation or a question. Maybe I'll reach out to my e-commerce partner and say, hey, like, what's up? Maybe we did some more brand awareness activity, or I don't know, maybe we did something to, bring people to the site, not for conversion, because we know they're going to have a hangover effect for the promo, just something else. So again, it's something I'm going to probably call out in my email as a good question to have. And then continuing, and then as I go, I kind of continue to review. So you see already how within like the few minutes that we talk, I already have a great snapshot and I already have a story to have put in my email to back up the numbers. And by the way, the story could also be, we need to double check with the e-commerce partner. We need to ask our CRM partners. And then as I finish to review the kind of high level, I'm going one level deeper. So now I want to look at for example, my first time versus returning. And then what I discover here that last week we did 1100, and then I go back here and say, hey, I see that my entire sales came from the first time and nothing came from returning, which Shane, I know it doesn't happen, but just for the sake of the example. So I'm saying, oh, wow. So that tells me something about the promo. Maybe the promo was a very strong retention strategy, but they're so hungover and they have so much bought from last week that they don't need to come back this week. Or maybe there was an issue with, whatever we send. But I also see that the new customers are actually up 64 week over week. So I'm saying, but there is still appetite for new customers. So they're still coming. So there again, there you go. There's a great conversation for the weekly meeting. Like, what's going on here? Let's talk with our CRM, e-commerce, marketing partners, everyone to like unlock this and see what's going on here in the business. Again, we have great story here. And if there is an issue, there isn't a problem, let's talk about what happened last week and how can we solve it. And then just another example, then going to the traffic, same story. I'm starting from the kind of total we had, as we mentioned before, we had more traffic this week than last week. What happened there? And then I'm seeing the traffic from non-paid actually decreased, which kind of makes sense because my repeat customers didn't come so much this week because they bought over the promo, I guess. But I do see that my paid effort, which normally kind of more focused on acquisition, is strong, and said, okay, maybe like our paid really performed this week. Let's talk with our growth marketer partners, and we can understand what happened last week that worked because we saw 64% increase in sales from new customers. So you see, and then how we continue kind of going into the platforms and really deep down to the kind of like nitty gritty. And you see how from like an overview, we kind of build the story. And now if we go back to the email template, basically all we need to do now is just everything we talked about, we kind of put it back into the email. So we kind of copy the numbers, the hard, like dry numbers, and then we're just creating the story. So now when I give you the context of the gross sales, we're down 50 week over week and down 44. So 50 down week over week and 44 to last week. Sales are down due to experiencing a promo hangover from the promo we ran the week before. With that, month-to-date sales are plus 335 to last month, and year-to-date sales are plus 50. Overall, we're pacing healthy for the month and for the year. Below, please find more details. So you see now how by understanding kind of the reporting, how it made it much easier to actually put it in, put the story together, and also providing kind of the actual numbers. And again, first time story now, if there is a marketing manager, director, VP, CMO that wants to kind of deep dive, now they're going to see that the growth is actually coming from the new first time customers, and then they're going to discover that with no sales from repeat, because I don't know what happened, but like we were going to figure that out. So you see how all those details from every section of the report, just putting it together. So just to sum up, I know it was quick, but just to sum up, the key elements to really understand the report is number one, really make sure and build yourself a detailed, easy to maintain marketing reporting, because that's going to really help you greatly. And then make sure the report is built from the high level to the deepest level, just like the email. So then it's very easy to basically put the story there. And then as you review the story, as you review the report, create the story behind the numbers. So then you can eventually create the email. And then lastly, the one slide before last, the key steps to create a great email recap is really spend 80% on the reporting, starting the report of what happened, develop the story, think about who you need to touch base on, what questions you need to ask your partners, and put it in the email, and only then spend 20% of crafting the email. Create a story. When you review, you saw how we kind of verbalize it, and we thought about what happened last week, what events, who do we need to, which partner we need to touch base with, and then going from the high level to the deepest level, because you're going to start discover, like investigator, you're going to start discover. And lastly, copy the numbers from the report and add the story context. It should really take that long. So I spend really not more than, between reading the report and writing the email all together, maybe less than an hour, because I really spend the time to dig into the report, sometimes even less than that. But the actual understanding of, like, by the time I get to the email template, it's really the last part, and it actually takes me the least amount of time. And lastly, just the benefit when you do this, again, might be stating the obvious, but it's really streamlined weekly meetings, allowing to focus on the current week. And basically, if you send it on Monday and everyone reads it and everyone is aligned on what happened, it serves as a record, so you can always go back and check. It increases team alignment just by the fact that everyone is informed. And the last one, what I found for me was the most helpful throughout the year. It really establishes you as a knowledgeable, reliable, and go-to source of information, whether if people will respond to your email, or maybe you're sitting in meetings with leadership and they need more context, and then there you go, you have all the context because you dove into all the details. So I really found this to be super helpful and made yourself reliable. And I think that's it. Do we have time for questions?
It's 12:30, but I know I have a question, and not just as you were talking that I thought of. You mentioned how it's important to, you see an insight and then you think, okay, I should touch base with the CRM person or the paid marketing person. And is your aim, do you send this email out with those open questions unanswered sometimes? Because I imagine, especially knowing, if your teammates are in different time zones or things like that, touching base with those folks could take an entire day and getting the information from them. So do you usually wait till you hear and you feel as though you have all the information, or will you send this out even if some of those open questions remain?
Yeah, that's a good question. Absolutely. I think the idea is not to have answers to everything, and you may not have answers because it may not be your area of expertise. So absolutely. I think it's more about identifying areas that you think needs to be discussed. And again, it's going to help team alignment if your partners know that they're going to have a question and you would need to discuss. So absolutely include this in the email. Just the fact that this is what you see and let's align, or here is my question, or would love to know more. So yes, absolutely include those questions, and definitely you don't have to have answers for everything.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Let me see. Chat here.
I have a question, Anat.
Yeah.
How much of that report that you're, looking at and updating, how much of that is formulas and automation? And is it really just that first column of new data that you're plugging in cell by cell? Like, what is that
No,
moment
it's all
like for you?
it's automated. It's basically again, like this is a report I've done in my like so many years ago. So basically, what you didn't see that there was a ton of data tabs. So what's been updated is actually data tabs, and it's automatically feed. So it takes me about maybe 10 minutes to update the report each Monday,
Okay.
all the tabs together. So it's really important to make sure you set yourself detailed, easy to maintain report so you can quickly dump data and just see, and it's right there. So that's one of the keys. So it took some time to build the report, but once it was built, it's once and done.
Yeah, we're like overhauling our, that process right now. And I think that is honestly one of the harder, more time consuming pieces. So it looks like you've come up with a great system, and yeah, it gives us inspiration to do the same.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'd be happy to answer more questions. I know that's very tricky. And also I would say that you need to be very creative although it's data and numbers, you actually need to be very creative to create a very easy report. So you need to kind of think ahead, and you need to plan it, the report, like in your head, what do you want to see, and plan that. And that easier said than done. So I completely understand that it's a journey.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? And again, I am super excited to offer you a free review of your Monday marketing recap email. If you need a review, feel free to just book time with me and reach out. And I hope this was helpful. I don't want to respect everyone's time. I don't see the time. Oh yeah, we're over. Yeah, so thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. And reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Anat.
Thank you.